I am really not sure what to say about a place that uses illegal tapes and cuts and pastes what they contain. Slandering poetry in order to define themselves against a person who they betrayed, tortured, and molested and mutilated. But that's what Pittsburgh is. It's what the Heinz Foundation is. That's what all the sandbaggers who refuse to interact with me are. They were the ones who were evidently involved in pornographic genocide. And they could only have known that that's what they were doing. It was because of sophomore self-definition games. Cut this, paste that, erase the evidence. And the people who did it have insulted the intelligence of every man, woman, and child on earth. But so has Donald Trump. Apparently there's a big market for people pay good money to be insulted by those types, I guess. It doesn't stand to reason. I don't understand why they're doing it. It must have been something to do with Miles Kirshner's idea of a too good principle. I was too good in school. And so they just wanted to define themselves in some way relative to me that was as vicious as they possibly could. And they whine and cry when you don't praise them for it. The most awful people causing the most terrible experiences in your whole life. You're supposed to play them up as though they have this cartoon theater thing that they call the judiciary. And all it is theater. It's cartoon theater. It doesn't, what are you going to do? Judicial misconduct. They call corrections extrajudicial harm. Gail Burstyn wrote, take away my eyes. So they have these people who angle at your eyes and say, we took away your ears. And they call it piecemeal, karma. They Ripper murdered a girl to death. And the women won't man up that it was a metaphor for abortion. My deafness was a metaphor for abortion. The women were constantly inundating me, seducing me, taking me home, getting into the heavy paddings. They never paid me for my services, and their services is what they were. They were doing it to bolster themselves. They were secretly getting money under the table about it. And it was to cover up and make a con job out of the unspeakable brutality of full-grown adults when I was 9 or 10 years old, molesting me and making secret tapes. So the ones they don't show are the ones that they really laugh about. And it's all Hollywood. You walk into the judge. I put down evidence of being used in a snuff film, which could hardly be denied from the evidence. It was put together badly. It wasn't professionally represented, but you could hardly miss the message of the evidence. It's not like it went over his head or he couldn't see it or somebody took away his eyes. He just said, I dismiss that. I care not. It's not my studio. And what gets me about the Gaza sandbaggers is like Galloway has faith. He believes in Allah. And so it allowed him to swallow his fears and man up. And he's impressive. But does he have to export that and say there's somebody who isn't willing to die, then they're a lesser man and I'm not going to pay any attention to them? It's like saying, if Kitty Genovese doesn't want to be Aaron Bushnell, we might as well stand here and watch her be Ripper murdered. That's exactly the same thing. Don't say it isn't the same thing. It is the same thing. Screaming for help and screaming for help and screaming for help, and people going, look, you get it. And then they have the audacity of the funny farm to sort of defend Gaza by being worked up about it. People of Gaza any different? I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, the people. It's not my precinct, and they have their hands full. I've always felt that the Palestinians had their hands full. Always felt that way about them. I never tried to export my concerns to them. I did what I could to draw attention to the habitual denigration of Islamic people, who, after all, are just trying to be helpful. They're brilliant people. They're just trying to be neighborly, and all that stuff they say about it's not the nonsense that they play for the theater of the absurd. And they don't care that the idea that Israel got the job done. What's that supposed to mean? That's like saying that Hitler was getting the job done. It insults the intelligence of every man, woman, and child on earth. Pictures of me that have been ignored and forgotten and airbrushed out, laughed at when they were not in my possession to try to show as them demonstrating the truth of my testimony. Penis Gabriel, Robert Fripp, virginity proves rape. They sit there, they're like Tommy Carturi. They sit there and go like this. They go like this. They loot things, misdemeanors. And you say something back at them and they come and slam dunk you, beat your head in, beat your brains in. And then you shouldn't say that name because it'll get back to him. Elon Musk will tell him. Because he's wiretapping your inners, your Val Smith, the implant, the Val Smith. Remember what they radio broadcast into the neuroplasm? Remember? When I snap my fingers, you will say it to the linguistic anthropology laboratories to relay to Putin.